Hey everyone, Nick Weber here with another On Target. Today we're going to talk about physical security and compliance, our two favorite things. If those are both of your favorite things, you're in a very small group of people. Very special, just like myself. That said, there's a lot that goes into this that often gets overlooked. I think a lot of times in the security space, we're so busy, to steal a quote from Brian Carr, throwing rocks that we can't talk to machine gun salesmen, that often we don't realize how much compliance we have to deal with, because it's just something that it pops up, just like the kids playing whack-a-mole at the arcade back in the day. We smack the mole and go on to the next one. I think if you're listening to this and you're familiar with Archer and what we've done there, you know all about NERC SIP. For physical security, you've got the low impact stuff in SIP 3, obviously SIP 6, physical security of BES cyber systems, obviously SIP 14, the physical security of substations. What may not be as obvious, and it kind of depends on how you handle things, SIP 8 sometimes gets pulled in with some of your response. It should be included, at least with however you're monitoring your packs. They should be included in some of those SIP 8 components. Also SIP 4, it's very common to see the physical security team have a heavy role in SIP 4, particularly with that physical access, but also just managing access across the enterprise. Now, if you happen to be joining us from the great state of California, or you're familiar with some of the components there, they have their own set of physical security for substations at the distribution level. If you're not familiar with that, it's a pretty interesting standard. It's a good spot to look at for some of those lower tier assets. That's another piece that we got to worry about in this industry. Ones that get over, or there's obviously the FERC dam safety. For those of you who operate in the hydro space, you've been through some of that. If you happen to have certain other generation types, there's going to be other requirements there that different organizations will come in for. Just another piece of the pie you got to look at. A lot of this ends up looking very similar, but ends up using different terms. So that's a lot of fun when you're trying to manage a program and figure out, what do you call things? Do you call it the NERC terminology? Do you call it the FERC terminology, or something else completely? Other ones that get overlooked, though, when we get into that, OSHA components, and that's kind of a moving target, if you will, where it really depends, and you should be working closely with your safety teams to understand what the physical security requirements there are. At a high level, generally it's kind of the standard of due care, making sure that you're providing a safe place for your employees and your team members to go to work every day. And obviously physical security is going to be a big piece of that. If you can't control access and make sure the right people are on your site and the wrong people aren't, that could end up being an OSHA issue. We've seen some of that with workplace violence. So it's a piece to consider there. Obviously, if you're working anywhere in the collective bargaining space, there's going to be components there that you're going to have to stay in line with the collective bargaining agreement. Imagine my surprise when I was a new security manager and had a broken electronic latch, 3 screws and a Molex plug, that I was told if I touched it, I was getting fired. Drove me nuts because we had to go through the process and it took a couple days to get it fixed when it was a 5-minute job for me. But that was the rules, had to follow them, had to know them. Contracts, if your organization works with contracts at all, there's going to be compliance pieces to that. And sometimes that's in your favor, sometimes not. It just really depends on those contracts, and you have to work with your project management teams usually to understand what your requirements are to meet the contractual obligations. I know one for me that worked out great was we had a substation that was under construction that was having some theft issues, and in the contract, as long as it was under construction, not our substation basically at that point. So it was on the contractor, and they ended up reaching out to us to see how do we secure other substations and implementing similar controls while they had control of our site essentially. So those are just some of the things with compliance. If you're in the space, there's probably other ones. I'm sure there's ones that I missed. Go ahead and throw those in the comments. Let me know. If you ever want to come on and talk with us and really chop it up on some of the bigger ones, shoot me a line either in the comments here or n.weber@archerint.com. So with that, thanks and good luck staying on the right side of all the rules. Take care.
Don't miss out on any of our insightful content. Hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay informed whenever we release new videos. For top-tier security solutions, Archer is your trusted partner. Explore our offerings at archerint.com and get in touch via email or phone to fortify your company's defenses. Your questions drive our content. Leave them in the comments below and join us every Monday for a fresh episode of On Target with Archer.